Welcome, everyone, to our interview series with nature-based school founders. Super excited you're here. I am Meagan Duncan, founder of Connected Kids Thrive, Positive Behaviors Guide for Nature Schools. And we have Heidi, and she is our founder today. And we are going to let her come on and introduce herself. But first, I want to let you know the three questions that we'll be going over. And the first one is, what inspired you to start your nature school to begin with? The second one is, what challenges or behavior shifts have you gone through that you have, along the way, that you've gone through along the way? And number three, what wisdom do you wish you would have known before you began that you can share with us? Because our audience is founders, of course, but also educators and parents, and also people thinking of creating a nature school themselves. And I think that's all of our secret agenda. Is really inspiring others to create nature schools because our kids need this. Our world needs this. So, with that, Heidi, will you please introduce yourself, and then we'll dive into that question number one of what inspired you to start your nature school. And go ahead.
Hi, Megan. Um, I have been in the child development world for, oh my goodness, how old am I now? Um, for maybe like 12 or 13 years now. Um, and since I was a child, I knew I was going to be a teacher. I was like, that's what I'm doing. Um, and so I spent lots of time working within the system until COVID hit, and I got a nice little 6 months vacation while the government was trying to figure out what was happening. And in that time, I spent a lot of time in Mother Nature healing myself. And I realized that the only thing I needed or felt I still yearned was my time with children. And I was like, I would love to spend my time outdoors with kids and allowing them to create that connection, keep that connection. I think it's something very instinctual that we all have. And through the systems that we have, sometimes we lose that. And so finding that again for myself was very inspiring. And it really helped me find the direction to say, I want to create a space for children where they can be children, where they can connect to nature. And it wasn't until I had my own children and that really just gave me the push to be like, okay, we're just going to jump and we're going to figure this out as we're going, and still figuring it out. um, but they were very much an inspiration to create Wild Presencia. That's actually my children's name. And I have two boys, Wild and Presencia. And also the reason why the school is bilingual, wanting to allow them to keep uh, the language that will help them communicate with our family members and like our culture and our heritage, but also understanding that um, English is important to be able to communicate with lots of other people as well. So being in Southern California, I felt like it was a good match to be able to have a bilingual school.
That's amazing. Love the names. I didn't, yeah, that's really, really cool. And that I think your story is exactly what I would say 95% of the founders, that I chat with, that it's our kids that help us and, inspire us to start our schools. And that is my story too. When I started my own school many, many
Yeah.
years ago, was I didn't like what was available and I was like, I can do it
Mhm.
myself. And then, whoa, I had to learn a lot of things along the way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's cool. And I love that your unique angle is the duality of the languages, which is super, um, super cool and important that you're preserving that for your own kiddos, as well as um, giving other kiddos access to that, which is really neat.
Yeah, yeah.
Very cool. Um, yeah. And how long have you been in child development?
Well, in child development, I would say I took ROP in high school, and I like right away went into working in into child development, and that was in 2008.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I knew. So I did that and went into school and got into their child development center as soon as I could. And yeah, I just was like, this is where I'm going. This is where I want to be.
Nice. And
Yeah.
were you in like a typical setting for a while? And
Yeah, yeah. Most of my career has definitely been the typical setting. I I was in the I graduated from the University of Laverne, and um, I worked the majority of my career and my education was going through their school where the student teaching happens and all of that. I did really like that that was social emotional focused. I learned all about conscious discipline. I don't know if you've heard of that before. I
Mhm.
learned all of my training was through that window. Um, and so it's still something very much rooted in the way that I see my relationship with children
Yeah.
and how important it is for us to focus on their social emotional development.
Which starts with our own social emotional
Yeah,
development,
exactly, exactly.
which leads right into our second question. What challenges have you been able to overcome, or even behavior shifts have you gone through along your journey that you can share with us?
Yeah, I would say behavioral shifts. Um, I think it has to do within me creating awareness of all that like training that I have, right? Of like there's a circle time and there's these things you do in order and you do certain things in a certain way and kind of being open to allowing for things to change a little bit, and I've because I mostly worked in child development. I already feel like I'm pretty open to that, but it's kind of allowed me to open it to another level and to also be conscious of like, oh, well, I have a parent in me program. So noticing that I'm a little self-conscious because there are parents there, and that wasn't something that I was used to. Um, I was used to having other teachers working with me, but not other parents. And so um, it's it's an awareness for myself and a shift to say like, okay, um, it's okay to let the parents know, if they don't want to do a story or they don't want to participate in what we're doing, it's okay. If he wants to climb on that rock or on that log, that's important. The movement is important for his learning, and their interactions are important for their learning,
Hmm.
and being open to that myself was like releasing the self-consciousness that comes up, and also enjoying the community and the learning process of that.
Yeah, amazing. Something that you mentioned. So it seems your program isn't drop off, the parents stay.
Mhm.
What
Yeah,
what I love that you shared that I want to point out, if
yeah,
in case anyone missed it, and I bet most people got it, is that you mentioned how we want to be flexible with the kiddos, right? We have this idea of what circle time needs to look like and what all the other pieces of our agenda look like, but
yeah,
how flexible we need to be. And when
yeah,
we decondition ourselves, we learn, to keep the child priority and them being the actual agenda. And that carryover to the parents, letting the parents know too, hey, you don't have to participate in this. You don't have to feel forced to do this, just as your child doesn't have to feel forced to do this. If it makes you uncomfortable, you can kind of hang out in the background, just, participate to whatever degree feels good for you. And
yeah,
I
yeah,
think it's so I am always looking for opportunities to highlight hypocrisies, right?
yeah,
Which is
yeah,
something I'm always looking for in the behavior world. And so I love when, a founder, a setting out
yeah.
sees that and honors that in both the children and the adults. So very, very cool.
Yeah, I tell them the importance of it, and then also like if you see something in the story or in this song or something that you want to draw them to, go ahead and put their attention to that. Like, hey, did you pay attention? Did you notice that, or did you hear
Mhm.
that? But let them do what they're doing, and if you calling their attention still doesn't bring them by, like it's okay. What they're doing like, and their interest and that connection that we're trying to build. Like the most important thing, right? Is that we're
Yeah.
building that connection um, for them.
Yes, I love that so much. Building the connection and the self-trust. The adults trusting the kids, the adults trusting themselves. And then when that happens, kids can trust themselves and trust the adults.
Yeah, I love that wording. Thank you. Yes, the self-trust. It's so
Yeah,
important.
it is. And
So,
what
so,
I love too that you mentioned is you're giving the parents something to do. Because sometimes parents don't want to step on your toes either, right? They're like, it's
yeah.
your program, I don't, but you're giving them that little like, hey, you can point something out, but no, don't pressure them. I think that's really, really great. Uh,
Yeah.
very, very cool. Okay. Are you ready for the next one?
Yes.
What nuggets of wisdom do you wish you would have known earlier that you can share with our audience, that they might be able to apply, along their journey?
Yeah. Um, Nuggets of wisdom. I would say to lean into the excitement. It can be really nerve-wracking to kind of like put yourself out there. But there's also really excitement to do something new, to follow a passion. Um, and so if you can lean into that excitement, uh, even though you're learning lots of things that are new that you might not be good at, or that you have to process all this stuff that comes up for you, remembering why you're doing it and that there's gonna be fun in this whole process is and that it's gonna be worth it is definitely one of those nuggets to just kind of remember. I know that like when I was getting things started and I was like, oh, I need a website, I need this, and I don't really know how to do all these things. And there's still things I'm still learning to do. Um, I I remind myself to lean into the excitement that like I'm going to connect with people that value Mother Nature as much as I do. And I'm going to create a space for children to run free and play. Um, and so that all like helps me as I'm navigating the challenges of like administrative stuff, of learning social media things, all these other behind the things, the scene things that I didn't really do because I was a teacher and not a business owner.
Mhm. Um, Wonderful. And then would you say that would be your nugget of advice for anyone thinking of starting a nature school?
I would say that would be part of it. I think the other part would be just like working on um, creating oh, what's the wording? Uh, Awareness to kind of unschool yourself, to unschool yourself so that you're really allowing yourself to give more freedom to the children and to um so that they can have that connection and that self-trust.
Yep. Self-trust is connection and self-trust are always the foundation. And I don't think anything can be built sturdy if those two things aren't in place. And, for everyone listening, it can be so scary to let go of all the knowledge that we have and all the things we're supposed to teach and all of that stuff. And then when self-trust comes into play, and following the children. And do you use an emergent curriculum, or what ages do you serve?
Yeah. Uh, Currently, I've done 5 and under.
Okay.
And this winter, we're launching a school age program, so that will be exciting. But yeah, so I do an emergent curriculum. There's the things that one plans either way, right? But I very much try to notice what children are doing. And I mean, just to start off a season, I'm like, okay, well, we're talking about this season or we're talking about a certain thing. And as class begins, I start noticing like, what are they actually interested, what is actually working, and allowing for them to 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 lead me in that way.
Very cool. I would love to share a story real quick of my own emergent curriculum experience. And if you have one too, just to give voice and evidence of
Yeah,
how beautiful that this can and how transformative and how much learning is in play. And I think sometimes it's easy for adults to separate learning and play, and they can't be separated. We can take play out of academics. I think we can take learning out of academics if it's
yeah,
forced in the
yeah, yeah,
wrong way, but we can never take play out of learning and
yeah.
learning out of play. So, just real quickly, my kiddos, we were outside and I was just beginning this transformation of myself, of trusting them more and just staying back more and just kind of waiting for that invitation from them to come in and, scaffold a little bit or whatever. And
Mhm,
they found a little ladybug on a branch, and through their own questions and very little from me, really,
mhm,
they, through their inquiry, they eventually asked if space had a smell.
hmm.
And
Wow.
what 3 and 4-year-olds ask that? And
Yeah,
when they're given time and space and trust and connection, they they ask the most amazing questions. And so we did our research, and yes, according to astronauts, space does have a smell, and it smells like rust, like a rusty steel, according to astronauts. So, anyways, so
that is
cool.
so
I
cool.
would
Yeah,
have they, we would have never got there if they were forced to sit in circle time for the 20 minutes I had scheduled for that
yeah,
time. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, completely. Yeah. And how like beautiful and like very like unique is that question, right? That's definitely not something adults would ask. We would go in there and be like, what do you think she's doing on this bench? Or, um, what color is she? Those are all things adults tend to ask, as
Mhm.
opposed to giving them space and allowing them to come with you with a question to you,
Mhm.
what a different impact, and you can see the creativity and the way that their mind um, thinks in such a different form.
Yeah, they haven't been conditioned yet.
Yeah, yeah, and it's so beautiful. I feel like that's definitely a something I cherish and a goal of mine of like, how do I allow for them to remain them? It's hard with to peel for yourself and just to allow them
Mhm.
um, to have the inquiry, to have the space. But it's so important, especially in our world today where there's a lot more stress, where like digital world is, really taking over a lot of children's day. And Mother Nature really allows for peace and curiosity and just wonder, and we all need that in our lives.
We do. Um, yeah, if I'm always like, stop the sports, go out, like go on a walk with no pressure or expectations. Your kids
Yeah,
will run and play and they will get all the sensory integration and big motor stuff that they need, and they will not have been told what to do over and over and over, stripping
yeah,
them of dignity, frankly.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
like you said, Mother Nature is the per the perfect elixir for
yeah,
stimulating and calming in all the right doses for every individual person for what they need.
yeah. It definitely is, and it's it's um it's definitely the medicine we need right now. So I'm so happy to hear that so many other founders were inspired during the pandemic and also by their children, and just
Mhm.
seeing that we need another direction. We've known for a long time that the system just isn't really working. And as we see where like the future is taking us, where like AI is writing things for us or doing certain things for us, like then protecting our children's, self-trust, their creativity, and their connection to the real world is so vital right now. And I really hope that there is more people that continue to step out of their comfort zone to do that, no matter um, how small the space might be at first,
Mhm.
or what it is, even if it's, a couple your kids and a couple families. it
Yeah.
still matters to those children, and it matter and so that's going to create a ripple effect to brighten our world a little bit.
Yes, I 100% agree. And I think that is the best ending that we could have come up with. And so Heidi, will you share how people can reach out to you, get a hold of you, hear more about you?
Yeah, I'm in regards to my personal account, I'm mostly on Facebook. So I'm Heidi Lopez Gutierrez. And for our school, you can find us at Wild Presencia. Um, I think there's a variant on like between our Facebook and our Instagram. I know on Instagram it does say bilingual, but as far as I know, if you Google search Wild Presencia Bilingual Forest School, we come up. Our social media comes up. Our website is also available, um, and you can find it through there. So you can reach us through. You can find all my contact info on there, and our emails, and all the things, and all the details um, through social media.
Yeah. Amazing. And your website, or I'm on your Facebook page right now, and it's beautiful. And everyone, I encourage you, go to, the Facebook. What I love about Facebook is people can actually like and follow and love and see the work that, you're doing with the kiddos. So everyone listening, I definitely recommend that we love on Heidi and all the founders here, because it does take so much work and it can feel lonely in this world of, leading these nature schools, which is crazy because we're doing such amazing work. I remember that. Um, and yeah, I hopefully people will. And are you full right now?
I'm actually just taking, I just opened up enrollment for winter. So
Okay,
I have space available.
there we go. Space available for those interested.
Yeah.
Thank you, Heidi. And then for any, nature schools or founders, what I do is I am a behavior specialist. I help nature school teams really deepen their understanding of behavior so that they can, approach a child from a needs-based perspective with unity and connection and confidence, so that the right things are being reinforced, and not the wrong things. Because if challenging behaviors are repeating, that's because it's accidentally being reinforced. And so
Yeah.
that's what I help teams do. And for anyone interested in that, you can find me on Facebook also at Positive Behaviors Guide for Nature Schools. And yeah, I'm so thankful to be getting to share these founder stories. And I hope this was absolutely worth your time. And please, if you're interested in sharing your own story, I'd love to chat with you. And please share this episode too that we have had with Heidi. And with that, Heidi, thank you for being here. And we will talk later.
Thank you.
Bye.